and alive, thankfully. I'm always going to wait for a few more people to jump on before we start going. My little dog here. Yes, thank you. Is here to say hello to you all. Crazy time it's been. Crazy time. Not just because it's Christmas, it's the holidays, which when I keep my voice down because my wife's over there, I don't like Christmas. Not very much. It's very stressful. And filming has been stressful, and everything around filming has been stressful, including actually what's happening to me while I'm filming has been stressful. In ways that you've seen and in ways that you're gonna see this coming Monday. There's more. There's more to how difficult things have been that you haven't seen yet. And yes, it all happens on camera. So a few people are hopping on here. I don't see any comments yet, but we'll always get a few after a moment. Always trying to. There we go. I'm getting a few now. Yeah. So yeah, okay, now people are jumping on. Goodness. I always try to put out a little feeler or a little preview in the what do you call it? The comments, not comments, community section on my channel page where I'm like, I will go live in a little bit. But really, what I'd like to do eventually is just kind of have a certain day set aside for live streams. We'll see how that goes. Okay, now people are jumping on. There's like 40 people on right now. So yeah, the first comment, the real deal, says you got shot at. That's what's crazy. Yes. So for those of you who are jumping on, if you haven't, go back and watch my latest video. And if you've already seen it, just go back and watch it anyway and comment for the algorithm because the algorithm is being a bitch right now. Yeah. But yes, so for context, one of my favorite styles of videos to make, in fact, my favorite style of video to make, they're not always, well, actually, they've been doing pretty good. There's some of my more successful videos, typically speaking. They are the abandoned place videos. Basically, I will go to an abandoned area, whether it's a closed down amusement park like the Six Flags in New Orleans that's been abandoned, the abandoned sewer plant area that I have here around town. And I will explore these areas, and I do loads of research on these areas beforehand. So 99 times out of 100, I already know before I go that there's a certain spot there where there's standing water and that there's likely to be fish around it. Um, Now, this most recent one was an exception. I went to New Orleans because I wanted to explore a couple of different abandoned places because unfortunately, because of, Katrina, an enormous amount of New Orleans was destroyed back in 2005. And even places that weren't destroyed at the time still suffered massive, massive economic casualties. So they eventually closed down. It was kind of a delayed effect. So there's abandoned hospitals. There is all kinds of abandoned businesses. There's abandoned theme parks, abandoned hotels, um, all over the New Orleans area. And I found a couple of places I wanted to go to. One was an abandoned factory, and I knew the lower level of the factory was completely flooded. And I was like, ooh, I bet there's fish in there because it's right on the border of the Mississippi. And I went there and I was like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to film. It's under reconstruction. They're repurposing it. It's been bought and it's surrounded by the most intimidating Jurassic Park-esque electrical fences you can imagine. I was like, I'm not messing with that. Went to an abandoned hospital. The city has welded like industrial strength plates over every entrance you can possibly find. Couldn't get in there, even though I knew that their basement is flooded because I've seen other people's videos of it. So there's a chance that there's, if not fish, some kind of animal attracted to that water. So I went to those two places and I'm like, man, I'm out of luck. I have one day left in New Orleans. I'm going to go to this last place, and it was an abandoned naval base that's in New Orleans. And I was like, you know what? It's on the bank of the Mississippi, and I bet you, there's a lower level that probably got flooded at some point. And even if I didn't catch a fish in there, I could fish the flooded area, right? And at least say I tried and then catch a fish in a different spot later. That was the plan. And kind of what worked out. But exploring the abandoned military base, this is all in my last video. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I was constantly dodging voices around corners. It's a massive abandoned complex, and it is listed on every website you will read as a known hotspot for violent crime, is how they put it. And I thought those were exaggerations, but nah, They're not. And I ended up having someone shoot at me from an upper story window while I was there. Big gun blast going off up above me to the, at the time it would have been behind me to the left. It's going to look reversed on your screen when you watch the video. Incredibly loud. That the noise in that video is loud, but it does not do justice to how loud the shot was. And you can't hear this in the video because GoPros have famously bad microphones. But there's a tin awning over my head, which you can see. There's a mirror image on the other side of this causeway. There's like a walkway over here, this empty space, and a walkway over here with the two ends of the buildings, kind of almost making like this giant outdoor runway, if you will. And when that shot went off, pow, right above me, the awning above my head, which I say right above my head, like it was, a good 10 feet in the air. Sounded like somebody struck it with a hammer. So like the bullet hit the awning over my head. It would have been a perfect line almost from the shot to me with the spot the awning made that horrific like hammer strike noise in the middle. So somebody was shooting way close in my direction. A lot of people were like, "Oh, it was a warning shot." It's like they were shooting right at me. So either they're the best shot in the world and it was a warning shot and they're just a marksman, or they were just trying to shoot me and they missed. So yeah, that's all in that video. It all happens live. It was a few months ago for me, but yesterday's video. So yeah, I got shot at, and that, if you see people talking about it in the comments, that is what they're referring to. Good to see you are fine. Yes, well, I didn't get shot, but I got injured pretty badly filming a video the other day, and you will see that on Monday because the injury happens on camera. It is something that is completely innocuous, like I'm not doing something stupid, but something I get hurt pretty bad, and it's going to affect the way I have to film for the next couple of months. So yeah, that's all on camera. Get ready for that one. It's going to be Monday, I think, this coming Monday. By the way, real quick, I'm reading down through your comments. I'm going to get to them, but I just wanted to say I get a lot of questions about firearms, especially after this video where I got shot. Like, oh, do you carry? Do you have this? Do you have that? I actually made a whole video about it. All the firearms that I own, showing them, shooting them, explaining why I have them, what I do with them, where I keep them. All of these questions answered, and that is on my Patreon, but I unlocked that one. So if you click on the link to my Patreon, which you can find in the description of any video, you can find it on the description of the video I was just talking about, and you go to my Patreon. Patreon has a really cool thing now where you can be a free member, which means that if creators decide to upload anything and label it as free, you don't have to pay to have access to that. So I unlocked that one, so you don't have to pay to see it. So if you want to go to my Patreon and see the answers to all the firearms questions that you guys have, because I'm not putting that on the main channel for obvious monetary reasons, it's all there on that Patreon video. So check that out. All right, let's get to some of the comments. Smokes412 says, "Brother, you have to be extra careful." Or I can't tell if you're saying that because the format issue is a little bit weird. That might not be your comment. That might be breaking off the end of somebody else's comment. Smokes412 says, "Glad you're safe, brother. Be careful out there." I be as careful as I can. I like to be a little bit adventurous. I like to take some risks. I think that's a lot of people keep saying that, like, oh, it's not worth risking your life for the fish and all that. Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, filming these abandoned places and exploring in these abandoned places is like my favorite thing I'm doing in my life right now. I actually thought about making an entire channel just dedicated to exploring abandoned areas, even the ones without fish. So yeah, I'm having quite a bit of fun making those videos, and a lot of that is because there is risk involved. I'm a bit of a thrill seeker. I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. I'm not gonna lie. I like it. Let's see. HRU 42 Marissa. I can't tell what you're trying to write there. HRU, how are you? I'm fairly good. Skillet says, I'm out of the loop. What happened? Oh, well, if you just watch everything I just said, I don't want to take everyone through the same process again. But in short, I got shot at, and I got shot at on camera while exploring an abandoned naval base in New Orleans. And yes, when I say on camera, I mean the camera is rolling when the shot goes off. Mr. Upchuck, that's a good name, says, yo, what's up, man? Giggity says, hey, flex, fist, peace. What's going on? Hey, dude, always enjoy your content. That's from W33D Hopper. Thank you. I appreciate it. It makes a huge difference to me that you guys enjoy what I do. I'm not going to lie. Like, there's been a few videos recently, and this is, if you've been around long enough to watch the channel long enough, filming in Texas gets hard this time of year. Every single year on my YouTube channel, come late November through January, I start kind of shifting the focus of my YouTube channel to smaller fish, carp, and catfish instead of like the alligator gar stuff, because it is almost impossible to reliably, and that's the key word, reliably catch alligator gar in the winter. So I have to kind of shift the focus of the channel quite a bit. And a lot of people don't like that because they're like, that's not why I'm here. I'm here to see you catch the big alligator gar and stuff like that. It's like, well, they just don't. They do bite. You can catch them, but it's incredibly difficult. My content, I'm trying to put out more content. I'm putting out a video Saturday. I'm doing the live stream on Sunday. I'm trying to put out a video on Monday and then a video on Friday or Saturday and then the same thing again. I'm trying to put out more stuff. And if I was to just say, no, I'm only going to catch big fish ever, you would be waiting a long time in between the videos. And I'm trying to get more out there. So I'm trying to embrace the smaller videos. David Johnson says, I'm glad that you're alive, and I'm glad that you survived it, like everything so far. Yeah, like everything so far. You only survive until you don't, right? Yes, I am quite lucky. It's not a scenario. This is the thing. Everyone thinks that when things go down, they're going to be John Wick, right? Everyone thinks that they're going to be, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the truth is, like, so much of what actually happens when stuff goes down like that is completely out of your hands. That shot went off and missed me before I even knew what happened. If it had hit me, it would have hit me before I even knew what happened. No amount of, I can do this or that, I have this tactical training, I have that tactical training, none of that would have mattered. Not a single bit would have mattered in that scenario. So yeah, huge amount of luck is involved in surviving thus far. So I'm a very lucky man. And being able to admit that is good for you to remain safe in the future. Lyndon Wong, does your wife ever go with you? Not really. There's a few videos that I've uploaded in the past where we do some park fishing and she was there. Actually, one of my more successful castnet videos, she was the camera operator on it because it was at night. So I needed someone who could operate a camera and a light system at the same time, which is hard to do when you're filming at night on your own. So she actually did that one. It's like what happens when you cast net a city ditch, and it's like a picture of me throwing the net. And if the lighting system I have is really powerful, but you can tell it's nighttime if you look at the thumbnail. It has like 400,000 views. She filmed that one, but she's not into the outdoor craziness. Josh Wagner says, crazy man, good thing nothing bad happened. Yeah, good thing nothing worse happened. Again, a lot of luck involved. I'm going to try to read that whole name. Campin' Coro Blue Dingo. Campin' Coro Blue Dingo. You handled yourself well. Thank you, I appreciate that. I worked in the safety and security industry for a while, and I did it in downtown Houston, and you run into and deal with the worst of the worst type of person in that type of environment. I have had guns pulled on me. I've been threatened with knives. I had one guy try to hit me with a chain. I had to help HPD. I say help arrest. When I say help arrest, it means I'm not the one jumping in and putting my hands on someone. What I'm doing is I'm being the buffer between the crazy person and the innocent guest who thought they were just buying a zoo ticket. Yeah, this is all at the zoo. To go look at the lions, because I did education at the zoo, but also did safety and security. Zoo guests just want to go look at the lions with their kids. They don't want to get hit in the head by a chain being wielded by a crazy person on you know, what was the one that was popular at the time? Kush. It's like some kind of like gasoline, um, just like some cheapo variety of another narcotic that was available at the time. I can't remember what it was, but they like you cut it with gasoline basically, and people would lose their minds and they would have like a heart attack like 20 minutes later. But yeah, no, I've dealt with all kinds of people being all kinds of violent, all kinds of in my face, and I did it from the constraint of representing a company that did not want us involved in physically acting out towards people unless it was the only possible way to survive or save someone's life, right? So my guest service skills are exceptional. My ability to diffuse situations, like speak intelligently and in exactly the right words at exactly the right time while under stress, while being threatened by another person, I'm exceptionally good at that. I have talked so many people down from trying to hit me with things. I'm very good at it. I'm also I have a history. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the channel, but I mentioned it on my Instagram, so I kind of for the first time put it out publicly. So I'll mention it to you guys. I'm 34, and when I was 14, I started having what I think I have since identified. And the reason I have to say those words is because I did not take the proper we did not take the proper medical route to deal with this. And it's one of the reasons it affected me so badly with seasonal depression. And that led to having horrific, crippling anxiety from the time I was 14 to the time I was about 18. And then I had a different type of anxiety um, where I would have trouble sleeping because I couldn't I would have panic attacks when I woke up because I wasn't sure that I was awake. I kept thinking that I was still asleep, and I kept having panic attacks trying to wake up when I was already awake. So, from the time I was about 14 to the time I was about 22, I had horrific issues with depression and anxiety, and I got just exceptionally good at managing my instinct to panic to the point now where I can literally just I can shut it off. I don't deal with those issues. They're kind of always in the back of my mind. It's always there, but it's like I call it the wall. It's the name I have for the technique that I have, where I'm constantly kind of like it's always in check, right? And I know this is a terrible example, but I want you to think about like Professor X, Xavier, always kind of having to keep what's that one? Jean Grey's alter ego, Phoenix, in check. Like it's always there. He's so powerful that he's always kind of keep it in check. It's kind of like that. So I am exceptionally good at just not panicking because I choose not to. And sometimes that can cause a rift with people in a serious situation where they think I'm not taking it seriously. It's like, no, I'm just not allowing myself to panic because I'm making the mental decision not to. But it is come in handy in situations like that and other types of emergencies. I can think exceptionally clearly, exceptionally logically. I am solution oriented under the most unbelievable types of life threatening stress. It is an exceptional skill to have that I had to go through hell to get. Murphles McGee. That's a good name. It says that style is the best. We're talking about my hair, my video, the painting I have on my wall, my Under Armour hoodie. I don't know what you mean by that style is the best, but I know it's a compliment, so thank you. Hey man, will you ever make a Discord server? I would love to see the community interact with each other. Yes, I am in the process of building up my platform on multiple social media sites, and that is one that I want to work on. The one I'm trying to do now, because I think it's just the one that you have to prove yourself successful in this day and age, is TikTok. And it's actually going quite well. So I'm doing very well on YouTube. I am trying to build a presence on TikTok. Twitter, I don't know what's going on over there. Twitter's algorithm, if it wasn't a mess before, now it's psycho land. It's psycho land. I only use Twitter to get updates on what's happening in the UFC. But a Discord server, yes, is something that I do intend to do, and I have been making like actual actions and putting like plans in motion to build my brand on different social media sites, and that will be included down the road a little ways. Let's see. Shit happens, but always have to be careful. And I'm looking at your videos from Norway. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that would be so cool to go to Norway. I appreciate your support. I got some stats because I was talking. This was a year or two ago to a potential what do you call it? I should probably know the name of this word. It's just slipping me. A sponsor. And they wanted to know the stats on like where the majority of my viewers were, and almost half of my regular viewers, not necessarily subscribers, but the people who watch my channel, which are not the same thing, are out of the U.S. I have an enormous following in Indonesia, apparently, according to the stats on YouTube. And I get a lot of views in India, Indonesia, and I get a lot from countries like Norway and Sweden, and I get quite a few views from the western end of Russia. Really, really amazing things. So cool to have support from all over the world. Apparently, I'm quite popular in Japan as well. That was a good video on how to get out of a hot zone. Yeah, just run. just run. Don't try to look like a tough guy. Go back and get them. That's no, not gonna happen. I would get if there was water in there. If I had learned for a fact that there was water in that area, and that there were fish swimming around in it, I would go back. But I actually have kind of become convinced that there's probably no standing water in there. There's no lower level of water that is likely to hold fish. So there's not really a reason to go back. I've already captured all the footage worth capturing from that area. My videos are cool. That's from Supreme Living. Your videos are cool. I appreciate it. Keep living supreme. Billy Baum says, you teach school in Houston. Did I? No, I did some education work in Angleton, which is a little nowhere town. Actually, I'm trying to think if I did anything out of there. Brazoria County, which is down south. Actually, at one point was the capital of Texas for a very brief time, Brazoria County. And I have an education background that I started building there before I got into the conservation education industry. So no, I don't teach school now, thank God. It's not something I want to do. Did you have any interaction? This is from Skillet. Did you have any interaction? This the person that tried to shoot you. Like, did I have any interaction with the person that tried to shoot me? It seems weird that someone would just shoot at someone because you were walking. That being said, we like in strange times. Well, here's the thing. Number one, I did have interaction with somebody a few minutes before that happened, and they were very angry at the fact that I was filming. Second, there were multiple times where, and this is all in camera, you can actually go back and see this, where I'm talking to the camera and somebody will start shouting around the corner, and I think it's largely because of me. And I scamper out of there real fast before they could find me. So there were people there who knew I was there, and there were people there who were very upset that I was there. Like I said, it's kind of known as like an illicit hotspot, or a hotspot for illicit activity, and like narcotics and violent crime is the word that I keep hearing everywhere when I read about it. So when you see a dude walk around with a camera like this, pointing at things, like, you want that person gone. So it's very likely that whoever shot at me did in fact know that I was broadcasting to YouTube everything that was going on in there, and they probably did not like that. Let's see. DV8 Doors says, what is your favorite state to fish in? That depends entirely on what. She wants my attention. She does this thing where she'll be like, hey, like she'll just put her paw out on me when she wants attention. I know, you're okay. Obviously Texas is unique in its alligator gar fishing, which is kind of my bread and butter. Even now, over a year removed from. If you notice, I have not been fishing for alligator gar nearly as much in recent years, or in the recent year, and that's partially because I kind of got to the top of that mountain, and because I really wanted to go after some other things, film some other stuff. I'll probably get back into that a little heavier next year. But when we're talking about alligator gar, obviously Texas is going to be my favorite. There's no other state that offers that type of fishing for alligator gar. But if you're talking about variety, If you're talking about like turn this way you can catch snakeheads, turn that way you can catch peacock bass, turn that way you can catch a bull shark. Florida's hard to beat. That stretch of Florida between Fort Lauderdale and Miami is insane. It is insane the kind of things you can find there. I don't like that part of Florida. um, of all the cities I've traveled to, New York, New Orleans, Chicago, just all these big cities, Dallas, Miami is my least favorite. I don't like Miami at all. The food is amazing. The food in Miami is some of the best I've ever had in my life. The fishing in Miami is insane. You just like you walk on the edge of you like walk on a walkway next to a taco truck. You look down, you see sharks swimming around. It's like drop the bait down there, you have a video. The ease with which you can find amazing fish in Florida is incredible. I just don't like Florida. I would, however, consider moving to Florida. I talked to my wife about this. Probably not going to happen. But I would consider, just me personally, moving to Florida to make my job easier because I think it would be easier. So yeah, Texas or Florida, my favorite state to fish in. A gig giggity says a drunken state. That was me on Friday after downing like 4 glasses of scotch. TV8 outdoors is just crying. I cry too quite a bit these days, honestly. Every now and then things just get to a point where I am the crying emoji. Jay the Treasure Fiend. That is, oh man, y'all have the best names. Like seriously, that is a fantastic name. That would be a fantastic YouTube channel name. If it's not already, if you don't already have a YouTube channel, you need just start one so you can have that name on there. Jay the Treasure Fiend is amazing. Hey brother, I'm here to back you up. I appreciate it. I don't know what we can do against sniper fire. You remember that scene in Predator where I can't remember the actor's name. Has the minigun. I just unloads the minigun over the whole jungle and they don't hit anything. Like that would be us. Out there in them trees. No fishing. This is from Random. No fishing in sketchy places. See, I can't abide by that because I love fishing in sketchy places. It is so much fun. And I love the artwork that people put in those places. Just like the amount of graffiti and how good it can be and how creative it can be. In that naval base, there was basically like there were like prose written on the wall, right? Like poetry that like felt like it came from someone who like was speaking from the heart. There's like poetry written on the walls. There's paintings everywhere. It's just exploring places like that is so dangerous. Don't do it, but like I'm gonna do it, and it's just amazing to see. Like you see so much of people, even though there's no people around most of the time. It's incredible. Holden the Catfish Man. Again, another exceptional name for a YouTube channel. Holden the Catfish Man. Be amazing because everyone knows who you are. Everyone knows what you do, and that is a huge part of the battle right there. Says hi. Hello back. For now, you are fine. I would. Is your name Ugly King? Is that what it says between all those symbols? I have bad eyesight these days. Says for now you are fine, and good to see you are finally. For now you are fine. Good to see you are finally fine. Really, dyslexia. I hope that stuff never happens again. God bless you, brother, and take care of yourself always. I'll do my best. I hope I also never get shot at again. Probably won't help that I'm going to go right back to exploring places like that, but yeah, let's hope we don't get shot at. Holding the Catfish Man says, I am so cool and so lucky. I am definitely lucky. I'll agree with that one. Slim Adventures says, sup, dude? Just stopping in to be safe out there. Probably to say to be safe out there. Yep. To say be safe out there. Crackheads don't like cameras. Yeah, no, they don't. They really don't. And who can blame them? Who can blame them? When your entire business depends, it's like I'm in the opposite end of the spectrum. Their entire business depends on anonymity, and my entire business depends upon everyone in the world knowing who I am. Hard to blame them. Holding the Catfish Man. I'll support you and your family as much as I can. I appreciate it. Check out the Patreon. Share the link to the Patreon. Supreme Living says, your variety of videos makes your channel awesome. Thank you so much for that. I see so many channels, and this is a sacrifice. I want you guys to know this is a sacrifice I largely make, knowing that it is in fact a sacrifice and not just a choice. I see so many channels out there that routinely post the same exact thing, and they're successful. And I like some of these channels, but they post the same thing over and over and over, and I just can't do that. I need to have variety. I need to have some creativity. I need to be able to film things that I find fascinating to film. I honestly, I hate the fact that I have to sum up my job sometimes as a content creator. I hate it. I hate that phrase. I hate content creator. I fancy myself a bit of a filmmaker. And I don't mean that in the sense of like I'm Quentin Tarantino or Martin Scorsese or something like that. Like I ain't Christopher Nolan. I ain't making Oppenheimer out here. I ain't Greta Gerwig. We're not cracking $1 billion at the box office. But I take great pride in what I choose to shoot, film, and I take great pride in how I edit it. So it's a big deal for me to have variety of quality film, and quality for me does not. You're okay. She can hear someone singing, so she's barking. Quality film for me does not mean I'm breaking out the drone shot every 5 seconds. The same drone shot that everyone uses. Everyone uses the same drone shot. Like, do you not see that? When you're watching this other YouTube channel, and this other YouTube channel, this other YouTube channel, you guys all use the same drone shot, the same one. Get creative with it. Anyway, I don't do that. I don't do a lot of text on the screen. I don't do a lot of artificial graphics. I just don't like it. I like to film what's there. And that's just me. And you know what? Everyone else doing the other thing, fine. That's totally fine. Their style is their style. Nothing wrong with it. My style is my style. But I appreciate that you like the variety I try to put in there because I have made a concerted effort to do it. Bernice McClendon says, you're the bravest man I've ever seen. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm kind of just foolish. Might be the most foolish man you've ever seen. Um, if you want to see me prove very quickly how brave I am not, challenge me to climb something high, and then you're gonna see me start falling apart. I have I have the world's best ability to deal with claustrophobic situations. I could crawl through. I think actually I did this in a video. I think. Oh yeah, no, I actually did this in a video. I'm talking like it's a hypothetical situation. I'm talking like I'm gonna make a hypothetical brag, but no, I actually did this. I was crawling. I was shimmying like not even on my hands and knees because it wasn't in a front, on my stomach through like an underground pipe because I wanted to know what was on the other side. Um, Claustrophobia does not bother me. That lifelong battle of conquering anxiety, I can lower my heart rate fairly easily by just choosing to do it. It's all about controlling your breathing and having the presence of mind to understand that certain if you have to ask certain questions that begin with certain words. This is how I do it. If I have to ask certain questions about a situation I might be facing, and I have to start those questions with certain words, the chances of that situation actually happening is quite low, and I'm not assuming the likelihood of a situation based on logic, but rather on fear. I have this little system that I work through in my mind, and I can control my breathing, and I can control my heart rate, and I can stay extremely calm in claustrophobic situations. I'm just doesn't bother me at all. Claustrophobia, heights will make me cry like a little baby. I can't deal with it. And when I say heights, I mean like I've done the Top of the Rock tour. Empire State Building doesn't bother me because you're not gonna fall off of that, right? You're not gonna fall off of the Top of the Rock tour. Ain't gonna happen. You have to. There's like 15-foot plexiglass all the way around, and then there's a ledge like 20 feet below that. You might break an ankle if you can get over the plexiglass. But I started climbing it was like there's this ride. It was in the Six Flags in New Orleans. It's in that video. There's this ride where basically it's like a giant bow and arrow, kind of. You have these two archways, right? It's big, tall poles. I can't remember if they connect. I actually don't think they connect. And you have the suspended wires that kind of kind of come down to like a harness seat, and you go between them, and then they like pull you back in. I started climbing up one of the support systems, and it's like a pole that's like this big around with like the little metal rungs, and like they're coming loose. And they're all covered in algae and water, and I got maybe 30 feet in the air, and I was like, I can't do this, and I had to go back down. So yeah, heights get me. Jade the Treasure Fiend says, you are 100% right. There's no training that can help in that situation. You are not looking to be shot at. There was no indication that you were in that much danger. Yeah, no. So, like, not in that present moment. In that present moment, like, there, in the context, knowing where I was, I knew something like that could have happened. I knew I was in a very dangerous place. I knew I had chosen to go into a place where I might be the attempted victim of some kind of violence. I knew that was a risk, but like I did not know somebody was aiming a gun in my direction at the time it was happening. It's just it was there, and luck intervened. Actually, bad shooting intervened. Somebody being a bad shot intervened. Let's see. Your fight and flight reactions took over. You took cover and moved tactically. You were in the right mindset and did what I needed. Yeah, so basically, a lot of people ask me, you know, like, oh, if you were really being shot at, why didn't you just duck behind the wall and all that? Why didn't you go back into one of those buildings? And it's like, for one thing, if I'm being shot at, I'm not going into a building because those buildings are all connected, meaning I'm now in the same building as the person who shot at me, probably. Second, there's only one way in and one way out of that naval base. If you look it up on a map, it's kind of hard to see unless you have the really good version of Google Maps. But basically, you have this compound shaped like a rectangle, and the whole thing is surrounded by multiple barbed wire fences. This way, like in this L over here, multiple barbed wire fences. And when I say barbed wire, I don't mean like keep your cows on the plain barbed wire. I mean like Constantine wire or Constantina wire. And then this side and this side are surrounded by the river, and very closely surrounded by the river. Like you can't get back there and get around. Like you would have to swim across the Mississippi to get out of there, and I ain't gonna do that because I would drown. You die. The only way out is this corner right here. There's a cut in the fence, in the barbed wire fence that I went in and out of. So I was here when it happened, and I had to run to the exit right here, or I was never getting out of there. So I was in the moment that that gun went off, I was already the closest to the exit that I could have been to make that move. So I made the move. Supreme Living says that going in abandoned places is good ideas. I love to watch them. Yeah, I don't know if it's a good idea, but it's definitely fun to film. I was actually inspired. Most of my decisions to do things have, you know, what's the phrase? There's no original story. It's like a screenwriting mindset. There's like 7 stories, and there's no original story outside of that. There's no original TV programming either. My inspiration to start exploring these abandoned areas comes from watching an episode of Man vs. Wild. I think it's season 4 of Man vs. Wild. There's an abandoned city in Europe. It's like a dock town and a factory city that is just completely abandoned. And he obviously, for safety concerns, doesn't say where it is. But he does like an urban survival episode. And I saw that and I was fascinated by it. I loved watching that one. I still watch that one. I still watch all those shows like religiously. And I was like, I'm going to start doing that. I bet you, because he found animals in it. And I was like, I can find fish in it. Like if he can see these animals there, Bear Grylls sees these terrestrial animals in there. If there's water in there, there's going to be fish in there. So I was like, well, I'm going to find examples of this, and I have a massive. If you guys logged onto Google Earth from like, or like I sent you like an image of when I log onto Google Earth, I have so many pins in places. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pins on the maps that I use. I have a massive list of abandoned places that I want to explore. So lots more to come. Holding the Catfish Man says, do you have a pet fish? If so, can you show us? No, I did a few years ago, but I don't now. This right here, this little schnoodle poodle, is the only pet that I have. Dolly. Let's see. Dorsey 207. You know what? You can shout at the clouds, buddy. You can shout at the clouds. I actually get off the couch once in a while and I risk things to go film things. You can't even take a good profile picture. Wyndon Wong says, have you ever tried light therapy? I have not. I think I saw an episode of Hannibal where that happens and it didn't end well. I haven't tried it. Santiago Romero says, sweet. Catch the fights last night. Oh my god. Yes. So, mixed emotions about the fights last night. Last night, I cannot remember the number, like UFC 290, whatever it was. I don't remember. I think it was 294, but I could be wrong about that. It was Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington for the welterweight strap. Leon Edwards is the champion. Colby Covington is the most undeserving title contender we've seen in a long time. And then the co-main event, which was my fight of the night, or one of them, was Alexandre Pantoja versus Brandon Royval, a rematch for the flyweight title, which is currently held by Pantoja. No, yeah, that's his name. What's his nickname? He has a nickname. I just forget his nickname. Pantoja. And then below that we had Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, which was a good fight. And then what else was in there? Bryce Mitchell versus what's his name? What is his name? Who did Bryce Mitchell fight last night? Josh Emmett. I was looking him up on the computer. Josh Emmett. Yeah, so I caught the fights last night. I thought the prelims were pretty good. I thought Andre Fili looked really great. Chris Brighthand got the knockout. I always love watching Andre Fili. He always brings the scrap, right? He's a fun fighter to watch. Getting into the end of the prelims, I think it was the end of the prelims when was it Rosa and Ariana Lipsky? No, it wasn't Ariana Lipsky. Who was it? Ariana Aldana and Rosa fought, and that was the fight of the night. And I thought that was going to be a boring fight because at the moment, actually for a while, the women's bantamweight division, 135, has kind of reminded me of the men's middleweight division back in like 2010, where the champion was always super dominant. Like you had Ronda Rousey for a while, and you had Amanda Nunes for a long time. And like men's middleweight, you had Anderson Silva. And you would always tune in for the title fight because you're like, oh, I'm going to see how bad they're going to absolutely murk their challenger. That's what you tuned in for, right? Just to see the beating that was going to happen. But then any fight that got announced below that, you were kind of like, it's not great. And I kind of thought that about this fight. I was like, it's not going to be very good. And those two girls tried to murder each other. It was incredible. They put on one of the better fights I've seen this year. Just back and forth, blood and guts, war. It was fantastic. That was the fight of the night. And then Bryce Mitchell coming in on short notice. Bryce, the earth is flat. Let's pray against the demons in the middle of the octagon. Mitchell, crazy person, stepped in on short notice, which is always an honorable thing, against Josh Emmett, who is, and now everyone knows it, he is one of the hardest hitting fighters the UFC has ever had. I think I compared him to Dan Henderson the other night, the legendary Dan Henderson. His power at featherweight is astounding. He drops people unconscious like Francis Ngannou does at heavyweight. And we kind of knew the tale of the tape, right? Or we kind of knew how it was going to play out. Like Bryce Mitchell is an exceptionally talented grappler, and he is exceptional at finding submission threats. He's not just good at takedowns, like he's amazing at finding submission threats. And we were like, okay, if he takes Josh Emmett down, he's probably going to win. If Josh Emmett can keep it standing, he's probably going to win. The first exchange they had, Josh Emmett overhand right into Bryce Mitchell's chin. You know, sometimes you see knockouts and they go this way, or they go this way, or they kind of come this way, or they're back of the head this way. It went straight into his chin, and you could see his head do this move right here. It went like this and went. and this shockwave just went through his body. And it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. And Bryce Mitchell collapsed, face first on the floor, arms outstretched, toes curled up, and started seizing like he was having an epileptic seizure. And it was the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. I don't even like Bryce Mitchell at all, and I was terrified for him. I thought for sure this is it. This is gonna be the first death in the UFC. He's going to die. And then it's like, okay, he's up. Even Dana White ran in the octagon. Like that's how everyone knew it was bad. And he's up, and they're like trying to like talk to him while he's standing, and his legs are like wobbling, and he's like staggering while he's trying to talk. It's like, get him out of there. I think I read someone say, might have been Luke Thomas. I can't remember if it was Luke Thomas or somebody else. Basically, when you watch like Lumpini matches, like Muay Thai matches in Thailand in the stadium with the flute playing the entire time, when somebody gets knocked out, they stretcher them out, even if they're conscious. And they just let Bryce Mitchell walk out. Like, the problem with that is you're going to fall over again, and the next time you fall down, your head might hit concrete or a chair or a table or the wall. And you know Bryce Mitchell already has a massive concussion, and getting hit again on top of a concussion can kill you. It can kill you. So yeah, very scared about that when that happened. You know, there's certain things that transcend your sports or your politics or all that. Like you don't want to see somebody be a sports death, regardless of who they are, except for maybe Colby Covington. And then who? Oh yeah, Shavkat Rakhmonov and Stephen Thompson had a fight that started out kind of boring, but when Shavkat finally got him to the ground, Stephen Thompson showed some of the best takedown defense I've ever seen in that fight, at least at the welterweight weight limit. Incredible takedown defense. But once Shavkat got him down, Shavkat does what Shavkat does, and he won by finish. 18 fights, 18 finishes. Incredible. And Wonderboy fought out of a choke that was so tight, you could see it was fully under. You know how sometimes you see a choke, like a rear naked choke, and it's like you can identify where the choke is not being finished. Like it'll look like that, and you're like, okay, their chin is tucked. It'll look like this. It's like, okay, they got a little bit of space. They're turning into the gap. No, that choke was all the way under, all the way crossed over, like back of the hand to the back of the head, elbows going in, chest going forward, textbook. Your lights are going to go out. And Stephen Thompson was making the I'm about to tap face. And if you've never done jiu-jitsu, the I'm about to tap face is very specific. It's eyes closed and it's gritting teeth visibly like this. That means you're about to tap. When you see someone in a choke and they do that face right there, it means the pain is so significant, usually in the front of the throat is what they're feeling. It means they're about to go out. They're about to tap. And he just didn't. He got out of it. It was shocking. And then when you think about the guillotine that Tyron Woodley tried to tear his head off with, almost a decade ago at this point, you just got to remember Stephen Thompson's badass. Stephen Thompson is an absolute badass. I remember watching Stephen Thompson in Chuck Norris's Karate League way before the UFC was popular. So I've been a fan of that man since long before he was a mixed martial artist. I was a fan of him as a kickboxer. So like when I was in Taekwondo learning how to kick, I was watching Stephen Thompson and trying to emulate Stephen Thompson's kicking style before he was in the UFC. So I've been a longtime fan, but Shavkat finally got him again, got him face down, got his chest in the back of the head, and just got him. You do one of those short chokes. Sometimes you see guys do chokes and they're like trying to lean back. It's not really a good way to choke people. You want to keep a rear naked choke short and compact. You're here, you're coming down. He didn't get, I think he gable gripped him when he finally finished him, but either way, rear naked choke, good one, is short, it's tight, it's compact. You're not here, you're not leaning back trying to choke someone, you're here. That is going to put someone out. You can do the high elbow if you want, but this move right here, this and this are crisscrossing like scissors. Your chest is coming forward, you're here. That is what's going to put someone out. That's what got Stephen Thompson to tap. And then the co-main was my favorite fight of the night. Pantoja versus Brandon Roybal, and it was just a barn burner. And Pantoja just showed he was a couple of levels ahead in the grappling department. I love kickboxing. I love striking. I especially if somebody throws a front kick, I always freak out. It's my favorite kick. But I just involuntarily will scream in excitement when somebody does like a sick pass, passing of the guard, or a sick back take. And that fight was full of those. I was freaking out. Alexandre Pantoja was just fantastic. And then the main event sucked. Leon Edwards does what Leon Edwards does, and what we knew he was going to do. He picked Colby Covington apart comfortably. Picked him apart comfortably. Mr. Brash, loudmouth, vile, garbage human being Colby Covington. Mr. I'm going to cut a promo for Donald Trump in the middle of the octagon Covington. Fought like a little bitch. I don't like swearing on the live streams too much, but there's no other way to describe that. There's not. He barely did anything. Quite literally, barely did anything at all. And that is so uncharacteristic, because if there's one thing you got to hand it to Colby Covington, is that he is always on the attack. He always moves forward. He is always throwing his jab out there, even if it's not like a Kamaru Usman, break your jaw in backwards piston jab. He's putting his hands out there constantly. You have to deal with it. And then you try to deal high, and then he's low, and then he's trying to throw the head kick, and he's trying to shoot again. He didn't do any of that. Absolutely nothing. Leon Edwards got target practice for 25 minutes. And Leon Edwards did a couple of cool things. He was throwing a really cool front kick where I can't do it with one leg because my leg's injured, as you'll see on Monday. But he was throwing a front kick where, if you imagine a front kick, you have to forgive me, I'm doing this crippled. A lot of guys throw that front kick, they throw it in a straight line here, like this, right? Like I'm trying to, there we go, straight like this. But look at my knee. He was turning his knee like this, so it was coming at an angle when he threw the kick. Almost like you see guys throw like the outside crescent kick like that. It was almost like a front kick version of that. And the reason that's good is because when you're fighting a guy wants to take you down, if you do a front kick at a straight angle, it could miss him, and you're going to land too close to him, and he's going to get the body lock or the takedown. So by throwing it at that angle, it gets around the body and back without that risk. Really cool. And then he leg kicked him, shoot his legs up, and he got some sick takedowns on Colby. He went for a triangle armbar, which I loved. I actually thought he was going to get him with it. My dog is over here trying to play with me. So yeah, and then Donald Trump left it. Donald Trump was there, by the way. Donald Trump usually shows up when Colby fights. Donald Trump likes MMA. He always has. And Dana White's big, longtime friend. So he comes out there to watch certain fights happen. And usually when Colby fights for a title, he's had 3 now, 0 wins. And Trump walked out in the middle of his speech while he was trying to cut a promo for him, which is just hilarious. It doesn't matter what your politics is. That is so funny. When you're trying to cut a promo for someone and they're leaving as you're talking, it's clearly they're not your friend. They don't like you. Or at the very least, you're useless to him. You're not a winner, so whatever. He was visibly holding back tears, claiming he won the fight. He so clearly did not. There's no person in the world would score that fight for him. It was not even close to being competitive. And then he got booed by the crowd, who was cheering for him the whole time. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your politics are. When you go to watch a fight, what's the one thing that you really want to see? You want to see guys fight. You want to see guys put on a fight. And it doesn't matter how aligned you think you are with your athlete. If they don't put on a performance, if they just suck, nothing will turn them against you faster. So yeah, it was sweet poetic justice. But it was a weird fight night. I hope Bryce Mitchell's okay. Let's see. A couple of trolls up in here. Good for business, good for money. Trolls are always good for my cash flow. If people are trolling you, it means that you are worth their attention. Remember that Don Draper quote? The guy's like, I feel bad for you. And Don Draper's like, I don't think about you at all. And he just walks right out. Don't Go Back. It looks like Sin City. I actually haven't seen that movie. That's one of the really well-known classic films I haven't gotten around to watching. Colorado Coin Hunter, you're the man, bro. Love the videos. Keep it up. Thank you. Neville Campbell Barker says, glad you're unharmed. That looks scary. You did the right thing and refused to panic. Good job. Yeah, just calmly running away solves so many problems. You need to keep a 45 on you. I actually had one on me at the time. That's what a lot of people see. This is kind of what I was talking about. A lot of people are like, bro, you should have had a gun on you. It's like, I did. I literally did. Go watch the video I put on my Patreon. It's free. It's a free video on my Patreon. You do not have to join my Patreon to watch the video that's on there about the that I own. I did have one with me, but that situation didn't call for it. Look, what am I gonna do? Just start like blasting off to like the windows? Like, no, stop. People, people who routinely talk about like, oh, if I was armed, blah blah. It's like you. I can tell right now have just you either don't have a regard for human life that you should have, or you're not realistically thinking about the scenario. People who have been in life-threatening situations, especially involving, firearms, don't think like that. They don't. Given the choice, even if they had one on them, they would not use it unless they were forced because they understand the gravity of what it feels like to have to be in those situations. Um, yeah, guys, I was armed. Everyone talking about like, oh, I hope you should arm yourself now. It's like, yeah, no, I was at the time. Wouldn't have made a difference. I didn't. There's no world in which what happened in that video would call for me to pull it out in that moment. Let's see. Have you ever fished in Colorado? Yeah, there's a couple of videos on the channel of me trout fishing and smallmouth bass fishing in Colorado. You have to go back about a year, 2 years almost. Man, it's been a long time. 2 years at least. And then I have like several videos on my Patreon. I think fishing in Colorado. I did a really cool creek fishing video in Colorado. Here's the thing: talking about places I don't like to go, like Miami. I don't think this is personal. If this is where you're from, this is personal preference. I hate Colorado. I hate it, and I don't know why, but I do not enjoy being there. At no point in Colorado have I ever thought, man, I'm really enjoying this. Except for the one time I took the train. My wife and I took the Cogwheel train up. What's that mountain called? Pikes Peak. That was one of the coolest things I've ever done. And then every other second I was in Colorado after that. Both times I've been there. I hated it. I just don't think I'm a mountains guy, you know? I think I'm a river guy. I'm not a mountains guy. Hold Fast Bear says, I'd love to see you do a bunch of jetty fishing or wade fishing. Yes. So wade, here's the thing. Wade fishing, right now it's a little cold and I don't own waders. That's the thing. I should honestly just buy some waders. In fact, now that you brought that up, I might actually think about buying some. Um, oh, you know what? No, not right now. I'll tell you why. I have a good reason for this. This right here, you guys are gonna see how this happened in a video coming out Monday. Very serious this time. There's been a lot of videos in the past where I'm wearing a knee brace, but this one's bad. This one's real bad. I'm having trouble walking bad. So stepping down into mud that's, coming up to my mid shins, like probably not a good idea. I might try some kayak fishing though in that area. That might happen. As far as jetty fishing just doesn't interest me. I find it so boring. And I know that's like it's so much more popular than what I normally do in terms of like people wanting to go do it. But I don't enjoy doing it, and I've never once had a jetty fishing video do well. I've never had a good number of results on a jetty fishing video. So I don't feel a lot of incentive to go do that. I might do it and put it on the Patreon, but not for the main channel. Holding the Catfish Man says, I have a channel. Well, I will check it out because I love your handle name. Everybody go check out Holding the Catfish Man's channel. Giggity again says, I love seeing you fish many of the same spots I do. Missouri City, Sugarland, Freeport area. Hope to meet you one day. Yeah, it's definitely possible. I'm out and about multiple days a week, generally speaking. It's been a little bit less just because it's Christmas. I'm spending a lot of time, doing Christmassy things with my family. But yeah, absolutely possible. Let's see. Extreme Fishers. Hey, bro, I'm from Jamaica. Just be careful out there. Please check out Extreme Fishers. I will do that. Thank you for your support. I actually watched an Anthony Bourdain No Reservations episode the other day. It was in Jamaica. Pretty cool place. Zort? I don't know how to say that. Did the live stream stop? No. It's showing me that we're still going. I'm gonna scroll through some of these real quick to see if anyone else is saying that. Nope, nobody else is saying it. So you might have had maybe a bad internet connection for a minute, but I'm still streaming. If you ever come to Colorado Springs, let me know. That's where I was last time. Colorado Springs. Let me know. I have some of the most gorgeous spots in the mountains I could take you to. Born and raised. Yeah, it was very beautiful. There's no disputing that. When I was out and about, like in the wilderness areas of Colorado, sorry, I was fixing the power source on my phone. I liked how pretty it was. I liked the environment, the outdoors area. I didn't like the cities I was in. I should specify. Andrew Hondo says, "Hey, how's it going? Love your monster catching fishing videos. Yeah, me too. Thank you for the support. I've got a really cool video that I am. Where'd it go? I've got a really cool video I'm gonna make in the next day or two. If you guys are familiar with what these are, I'm gonna use this in a really cool spot. Let's see, Andrew Hondo. I feel like you. I've been shot at by a hillbilly moonshiner in the past. Bank fishing here in WV. Which one is that? West Virginia. Yeah, that sounds like fun. Sounds crazy. John Rhodes. Hey man, I've seen you on the heights thing. Like literally anything over 10 feet freaks me out. Yes. Oh man. It's so bad. Like I just heights are the worst. I think the problem is that like there's not if you're in a tight space, right? You can always get out of it. Unless you're crushed instantly, which almost never happens. You can usually find a way to get out of it, even if it takes a while. You can find and think your way out of that situation. If you fall off of something, there is no reverse card. You're falling. You've fallen. You let go, you're falling. You cannot stop that process. I think that's what scares me. It's a one-way ticket. Let's see. Ooh. Jay the Treasure Fiend says you fished in Iraq. That's cool. I saw a video that I think it was Brooksy did where they went fishing in I don't know if it was the Gulf of Aqaba or the Red Sea in the Middle East, and really shockingly amazing fishing over there. Flamas says, "Hey man, haven't been able to join the live stream in a while. Yeah, it's been a bit since I did the last one. A little too long. Got to do these more often. If I hate heights, fishing in the mountains like I do wouldn't be your cup of tea then. It's about the immediate threat of falling off. So like climbing on a narrow tower, climbing on a giantly tall ladder. Going up a mountain is not that big a deal because unless you're like right next to a cliff face, you know, a mountain is tall, but it doesn't feel like a sheer drop. It's sheer dropping that messes with my mind. Let's see. Juan Jimenez says, hi, hello back. Thank you for tuning in. Jimmy R. Adventures. Exactly. Most people don't understand the level of responsibility it takes to carry a weapon. Yeah, no, they do it because they want to feel important, really. That's why most people do it. Or they have this fantasy in their mind that they're going to, you know, be John McClane or something. It's like, no. If you ever have to use it, and by the way, 99% of the situations when you read about somebody using it, they didn't have to use it. They did not have to. They chose to. And it's always messy and it's horrifically awful and followed by years of legal proceedings that will ruin the rest of your life. So yeah, it's not something that is like a fun thing to do. Texas Jack says, tuning in late, what did I miss? We're recounting the video adventure that I posted yesterday where I got shot at in an abandoned Navy base in New Orleans. That's kind of been the talk of the channel at the moment. Alex McDougall Wildlife Photography says, good to see you. Well, I'm good to see that you're here. I would love to see some of your photography sometime. Toxin97 says, I love your videos. Thank you. I try to make the best ones I can. If you ever wanted to fish in West Virginia, this is Andrew Hondo speaking. If you ever wanted to fish in West Virginia, we got huge fish. What kind? What kinds of huge fish do you have? Jade the Treasure Fiend says, in Iraq, we all had... Oh, you're talking about guns. I thought you were talking... Tell me what kind of fish you were after. Dox97 says, you're my favorite YouTuber. Thank you. I'm glad I'm somebody's favorite. You and my mother and my wife, at least. I have 3 now. Michael Swanner. What size spinning reel do I use for alligator gar? I am particularly fond of the Daiwa BG 6500. But the size of the reel you're going to use is going to have a lot to do with the type of rod you're putting it on. So I'm also particularly fond of Penn Fierce reels, but they don't fit every rod. So my favorite reel go-to for a variety of rods that I've used that kind of seems to fit the biggest number of rods is the Daiwa BG 6500. The BGs are kind of big, so like an 8000 seems too big. If I have one, it feels too big, so I put it on a big giant surf casting rod. The 6500 is perfect. It will hold 300 yards of 80-pound braid, no problem at all. They're fairly powerful. They're fairly consistent. I caught a 150-pound sturgeon on a Daiwa BG size 5000, so the 6500 will catch monstrous alligator gar. What's my favorite Patreon? If you mean Patreon account that I follow, it is Jack Slack, who is an MMA, not a journalist, but an MMA analyst and a very gifted writer. Uncle Swanner says, what? Oh, wait, no, I just read that one. Have I ever had issues? This is from Flamos. Have you ever had issues exporting iPhone footage in Premiere Pro? Because I can't seem to fix the color of my next video I want to post. No, I don't film on an iPhone. I have a Android. My dog's growling at people outside again. I don't really film on a phone very much. I film on... I'm casting from my phone now, but I'm not going to be editing this footage. When I do my actual videos, I'm filming with this, a GoPro Hero 8 Black, which is not the most recent one, but they are extremely heat resistant, and fishing in Texas in the summer for hours on end, you need that heat resistance. So no, unfortunately, I don't have any experience with iPhones at all. But I mean, I'm sure if you Google it, that's what I've learned, is whenever I have an issue, especially a technical issue, somebody else in the world has typed information about the same problem on the internet at some point. So I can search for whoever else has dealt with that problem and what they did to fix it. I wish I could tell you more, but I have no experience with iPhones at all. Holden the Catfish Man says, please sub. I'll head over there and check it out. Gary says, how do you tie your hooks for gar fishing? I do it one of 2 ways. So I should have some right here. These are the circle hooks I usually use. The Team Catfish, ADOT Nautilus hooks. I either do a 4-wrap uni knot with a lock, or I snell knot them. And I have a video on my YouTube channel of the way I like to tie the snell knot, because I don't do that stupid way where it's like you can see the one strand over the top of the rest. No, when I tie the snell knot, you just see the wraps in the tag end. And I usually put a little knot in the tag end. Carrie Sui says, just beware the vines. I don't know what vines we're talking about, but I'll look out for them. David M says, what's up? What's up, man? Just doing a bit of a Sunday afternoon live stream. Let's see. Trailer Park Pirate, another great name. Careful there. Yeah, I'm trying. Doing my best. Oh, here's a good one. Fishing with Aaron says, "What are my channel goals for next year?" Let me think about that. Figure out the YouTube algorithm. Try to get that back on track. The algorithm's been giving me hell recently. It's been very annoying. Um, but channel goals for next year in terms of what I want to accomplish. I have a couple of really interesting video ideas. Like I have goals for specific videos I'm trying to accomplish filming that are very unique. But I don't want to give those away here because part of the way I get people to click on things is that reaction you get to seeing it for the first time. So I have 4 or 5 huge video projects I'm interested in making and have started working on. But in tangible goals, I kind of want to get back onto catching giant alligator gar. I want to do more large fish in urban settings that I haven't caught before. I want to start fishing the downtown area of different cities throughout the United States as much as possible, wherever that is possible. San Antonio, downtown Houston, but not like on the fringes where I have been, but like in the actual like downtown area, like between Allen's Landing and the stretch of Buffalo Bayou that goes out towards the west, like where the theater district is. Like Buffalo Bayou runs right through there. There's gonna be gar in there. There's gonna be catfish in there. I want to catch more big fish in more downtown areas throughout the United States. That's a big one for me. I would love to hit 200,000 subscribers next year. I can tell you that. Probably possible. I got 152 right now. I'll probably get 200 before the end of the next year. That's even under normal circumstances. You never know what's going to happen. Fama says, "I'm number 4 to say you're my favorite YouTuber. I've said that for years now." You have, and I appreciate it. Your loyalty has not gone unnoticed. You are always turning up for support. Toxin97 says, "I live in Texas." Same. Curious Sue says, "By the way, new talker for like first time commenter, a long time viewer. I appreciate you showing up for the support. It means a lot." Fama says, "Yeah, I used 2 GoPro 11s, but I used an iPhone with a gimbal recently for a cinematic feel, but the exporting is just being weird." Yeah, I wish I could give you more info, but I don't know anything about iPhones at all. I've always avoided iPhones. Carrie Sue says, "You almost tripped on the vines at..." Oh, those vines, yeah, at the sewage plant. Yeah, the one of the recent videos I did where I was at that abandoned sewer plant. I was trying to climb over something and I was like getting tangled up in all these vines. So yeah, you got to watch out for that, especially because it'll just like stumble you down into the sewer storage tanks if you're not careful. Texas Jack says, "Are you still doing the other YouTube channel?" I feel like I was just talking to someone about this. Oh, I said this on the Patreon. I stopped doing it for a while because I lost interest in it. I was like I was doing an episode of it and I was like, I'm not really enjoying this as much as I thought I would. I'm gonna keep it around just in case I decide to dedicate time to it. But at the moment, I wasn't feeling it. So I decided, you know what, just dedicate the time to doing extra stuff on this channel. So the food channel is kind of on a hold at the moment. I have to go. Hope your videos and lives. I have to go. Okay, you're heading out and you're wishing me luck. Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you for dropping in. Yeah. So it doesn't look like we're getting too many new people in here. The last maybe 30 minutes has been the same people commenting over and over, which again, I love your support. But yeah, so final thoughts for you guys. Definitely check out the Patreon. You can watch that video I put on there for free. You do not have to join my Patreon as a paid member. You just click join as a free member and you are not charged anything. I think what Patreon wants you to do is get on people's channels and then be like, oh, I actually like this so much, I want to subscribe for money. And guess what? I want you to do that too. But that video is on there for free if you would like to see it. The one where I have all that. And yeah, there's like over 20 fishing spots on there. Like if you look at my channel, there's like 20 fishing spots from the channel. And when I put this fishing spot in there, a lot of people like throw a fit. And they're like, oh my God, your spot burning. It's like, guys, it's just the same as a guide. Same thing. If you've ever hired a guide, you've done the same thing. You paid someone money to show you a spot and how to fish it. That's all I'm doing. So I'm a guide. There's nothing to get upset about. And there's a reason I don't broadcast it on the main channel. I don't broadcast it to millions of people. I have a relatively small number of people on the Patreon, so no, I'm not spot burning. I'm working as a virtual guide. So yeah, that's all on there. And there's like over 50 or 60 extra fishing videos on there, including some I just recently did where I caught some amazing, amazing fish. So yeah, definitely check out the Patreon. Join, show your support, and I will be forever grateful. Also, I'm doing a big poll. You can comment on this without joining the Patreon as a paid member. You can do this for free on the Patreon. If you go there as a free member of the Patreon, no money involved, you can say which spot from my YouTube channel you would like me to do a highlight on next. A highlight is where I take a spot from the channel and I say, here's where it is. Here is everything you could possibly want to know about it. Here's what kind of fish are there. Here's where they like to hide. Here is how to get them from those spots. Here's what to use. Here's what time they're going to be active. Here's the way they behave. Here's how they move through the area over time. Here's how this spot works this time of year. Here's how the spot works this time of year. It's the most detailed, hand-drawn diagrams of what the topography under the water looks like. I put it all on there. And that's what's the main driver of my Patreon. That's what so many people like to have a good cry about. But I'm letting people suggest the spot they would like to see. And you do not have to be a paid member to add your 2 cents. You can comment that on there. And then depending on which one it is, because there's 1 or 2 spots that I was shown by a guide, so I'm not stealing his business. I'm not going to put his spot on there. And then there's a few spots that are too sensitive, in my opinion, that I'm not going to share because I don't want people, in numbers going there on a regular. So because I think those spots are sensitive, I rarely go to those spots too. I go there few and far between. And I won't write about those, but I mean, there's hundreds of spots on my channel. So write the one you want to see, and we'll see if I pick one. John Rhodes says, I got a place where you can catch 3 to 400-pound Goliath groupers. It's almost basically a ditch. All right, John Rhodes. I'm talking to you, John. One of the videos that I am trying to film right now that I think is going to be, sometimes I have a feeling about things, like almost every video I've made that got over 2 million views, I kind of knew it would. I have this like sixth sense that goes off. I'm like, oh my God, that idea is going to work. I have a particular idea I'm trying to film. I've got the gear. I've got the special stuff that makes the video special right over there. And Goliath groupers are one of the fish that I think can make this video work. Now, I have a spot in Florida that another very talented fisherman clued me in on where I might be able to get Goliath grouper for this insane video idea I'm doing. But if you have a reliable grouper spot and you would like to be on the YouTube channel to help make this video possible, let me know, because I will come to you and we will film this video. And I have no doubt this video is going to be a success. So definitely, my email is on my YouTube channel. It is wildlifefishingshow@gmail.com. wildlifefishingshow@gmail.com. If you are interested, let me know. I think you can make a huge project I'm trying to accomplish possible. Also, if there's anybody out there who can get me access to an oil rig, let me know. If I can get on, I know this is probably a big ask, but if I can get on an oil rig, I have the most insane video ever that I want to film. All right, let's see. John Rose says, "Oh yeah, you'd be surprised where they hide and watch his channel. I mean, he fishes." Oh wait, are you talking about me or someone else? Are you talking about somebody else? I'm not sure who you're talking about, but yes, all fish hide in weird places. Anyway, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email. Let's talk. I think we can make something pretty awesome happen. All right, guys, I think I am checking out of here. Check out the Patreon. Check out the free stuff on the Patreon. And then if you like the look of the other stuff I have on offer, you know, maybe join. But definitely check out the free stuff. I have a video coming out on Monday, and you will be able to see my entire knee blowout on camera and watch me scream in agony on camera in that video, as well as catch some amazing, amazing fish, including in some weird ways you don't usually see on the channel. All right, guys, I am checking out of here. We've been doing this long enough. I'm not going to answer any questions about the injury. Watch the video if you want to see it. Coming out Monday. What's the Patreon called? It's just look at any video I have, guys. Any video, open up the description. The link for the Patreon is there. Look at the community section on my page. I've been posting the link multiple times. You can find the link to my Patreon on any video in the description or in the community section of the channel. All right, I'm heading out. I will catch you guys on the flippity flop. And I will try not to get shot before I see you guys again.